Footsteps in the dark snow. The snow was black with ash. The wind howled through the broken trees. Somewhere in that frozen world, something moved. Slow, heavy, hungry. Virella held her child close to her chest. Her arms were shaking, not from the cold, but from fear. Her body was thin. Her skin, once glowing silver, was now pale and scratched. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark as she looked out from the broken ship window. The child, barely 4 rotations old, whimpered in her arms. "Shh," she whispered, stroking the child's tiny head. "They will hear us." Outside, footsteps crunched in the snow, not just one. Many. The undead were walking. Once this planet had been a colony. Now it was a graveyard. The virus had come fast, too fast. It killed the body, then brought it back. Not alive, not dead. Just hungry. Virella had landed here by accident. Her ship had lost power mid-journey. She thought the planet was safe. She was wrong. 3 days ago, the ship crashed. She managed to crawl out with her child. She had searched the wreckage for supplies, food, water, a weapon. But there wasn't much. She found only one working blaster. 1 shot left. Since then they had been hiding. And now, the creatures were getting closer. Crunch, crunch, crunch. She covered her child's mouth gently. The small one was cold, weak, breathing slow. "Just one more night," she whispered. "Please, just survive one more night." Suddenly there was a loud thump on the ship's side, then another, a dragging sound. Something was outside. Claws scraped metal. A low growl came next. Virella froze. She pointed the blaster at the door. Her hands shook. She had never killed before. The door handle turned halfway, then stopped. Silence. Her heart pounded so loud she thought the creature might hear it. Then, footsteps again, moving away. She waited 10 more minutes before lowering the blaster. Tears filled her eyes. Not from fear, from pain. The child's skin was cold like ice. No medicine, no heat, no help. "I should have died in that crash," she whispered. "At least, you would have been spared." She closed her eyes and thought of her home planet, the purple skies, the warm gardens, the laughter of her people. All gone now. Suddenly, crack. Something outside snapped. Loud, heavy. Then another sound. A different sound. Boom. It echoed through the trees. Virella's eyes widened. That was not a zombie. That was an explosion. More footsteps. Fast ones. Running. A scream. Then another boom. Blaster fire. Someone was out there. Fighting. But who? And why? No one came to this planet anymore. Everyone knew it was dead. She slowly moved to the edge of the wrecked door and peeked through the hole. Her breath caught a figure in the snow, tall, wearing heavy armor, holding a glowing rifle. Human. He moved quickly, firing shot after shot. Each time another undead fell. Smoke rose around him. His boots stomped through the snow with purpose. Virella stepped back. She was shaking again. Was this another danger? Or a miracle? The human fought like he had done this before. His face was hidden behind a helmet, but his movements were strong, trained, angry. In minutes, the undead were gone, burned or blasted apart. The human stood still for a moment, breathing hard, then turned slowly and looked directly at the ship. At her. Virella ducked. He had seen her. She held her child tighter. Her finger hovered on the blaster trigger. If he came closer, she would shoot, even if it was her last shot, even if it meant dying. Footsteps again, but not the undead this time. These were clean, heavy, confident. He was coming. She aimed the blaster at the door. The child whimpered again. The footsteps stopped just outside. Then, a calm voice spoke, muffled through the helmet. "I'm not here to hurt you. Silence." "I saw your signal," he said. 2 days ago. Weak frequency, emergency code." She didn't speak. He placed something gently outside the door. A heater, food, water, medicine. Still silence. "I'll leave it and step back." She heard the sound of snow crunching. He really stepped away. Slowly, very slowly, she opened the door. The cold hit her skin like knives, but she ignored it. There on the ground were the supplies, real food, real warmth, and hope. She looked up. The human had removed his helmet. He had kind eyes, tired, but kind. Varela didn't lower the blaster, not yet, but for the first time in days, she believed they might live. The fire crackled softly inside the broken ship. For the first time in days, there was warmth. Varela sat close to the small heater. Her alien child lay wrapped in a thick human blanket, cheeks no longer blue from cold. The human, his name was Cade, sat near the door, cleaning his weapon. He hadn't spoken much since he arrived, but his eyes kept watching. Always alert, always ready. Outside, the undead still wandered in the snow. Inside, the silence was fragile. Varela looked at the child, who was now breathing more easily. The medicine worked, but it wouldn't last. Cade finally spoke. "Your ship, does it have a working beacon?" Varela shook her head. "Damaged in crash. I sent one emergency pulse. Weak. Signal. I didn't think anyone would hear it." "I did. Barely," Cade said. He looked at her. "You were lucky." "No," she said quietly. "We were dying. Not lucky." Cade didn't argue. He stood and walked to the broken panel near the ship's rear. "Beacon's core is leaking," he said. "We need to fix it." "Why?" she asked. "No one else is coming." He turned slowly to face her. "I didn't come to save one person. I came to get you both out." A small hope lit inside her. "But we need to signal my team," Cade added. "They're out of range. Beacon's our only chance." He opened a pack and pulled out tools. Sparks flew as he worked. Varela watched in silence. Then a strange clicking sound. It wasn't from the ship. It was from the trees outside. Both of them froze. The clicking got louder. Closer. Cade looked at Varela. "That's not undead." "No," she whispered. "It's something worse." The sound was ancient, cold, metallic. Suddenly, the trees lit up with blinking green lights. A new shape appeared from the dark, tall with metal legs and glowing red eyes. Varela gasped. "Drones, from the old war." "Military relics?" Cade asked, standing slowly. She nodded fast. "This planet was used for weapons testing. Those drones still patrol the crash zones." "Why didn't you say that earlier?" he hissed. "I thought they were all dead, like everything else here." The drone stepped forward. It scanned the ship. "Intruder detected," it said in a deep, robotic voice. It raised an arm. Energy began to glow at its tip. "Down," Cade shouted. The beam fired. It tore through the metal wall just inches above the child's head. Varela screamed and covered her baby. Cade fired back. The blast hit the drone's head. Sparks exploded. It stumbled, then fell with a loud clang. Smoke filled the air. Cade pulled the child and Varela behind a thick crate. "There will be more." It sent out a ping. Varela was shaking. "We can't fight those. Not without heavy weapons." "We don't fight," Cade said. "We run." She looked at him. "Where?" He pointed at the broken beacon. "We fix that. Then we run. My team will come." She nodded, still trembling. Together, they worked fast. Cade rewired the beacon's base. Varela patched the energy core using parts from her heating unit. Every few minutes, Cade would stop to check the windows. More red lights were glowing in the trees. Too many. Finally, the beacon sparked back to life. It blinked twice, then turned solid green. "Signal is live," Cade said. "It'll reach my ship in 4 hours." "4?" she gasped. "We'll be dead by then." "Not if we move," he said, slinging his weapon. She wrapped the child tightly, strapped him to her chest, and grabbed the one-shot blaster. They stepped out into the cold. The forest was no longer quiet. Dozens of drones moved between the trees. Each step made the snow shake. Cade whispered, "Stay low. Follow me." They crawled under roots, slipped behind ice rocks, and ran through shadowed paths. Cade led with perfect aim, shooting only when needed. One drone saw them. It roared, louder than the undead. The forest came alive with red lights. "Faster!" Cade yelled. A clearing appeared up ahead. In the middle was an old bunker, half buried in snow. "Inside. Now." They ran in. Cade slammed the door. Thick metal, locking bolts. For now, they were safe. Virella dropped to the floor, heart pounding. Cade opened a small screen. A signal pulse blinked slowly. "Your message is going," he said. Virella looked at him. "Will they come?" Cade didn't smile. He just said, "They better." Outside, the red lights kept moving closer, and the beacon started to flicker. Cade sat against the cold wall of the bunker. His armor was cracked, his rifle half empty. The woman, Virella, held her child close, rocking slowly in the dim light. Outside, the drones hunted, the undead wandered, and the beacon's light blinked. Weaker than before. "I don't think they're coming," Virella whispered. Cade didn't reply. He looked at the beacon screen again. No response, no signal back, just silence. Then he stood up. "Where are you going?" Virella asked. "To find a new signal tower," he said. "There was one near the old ruins. I saw it on the way down." "That's suicide," she said. "You'll have to go through them." "I know. You'll die. I might." He looked at the child. The little one's skin was still pale, eyes half open, breathing shallow. "He's not going to make it if no one comes," Cade said quietly. Virella didn't argue. She didn't beg him to stay. Instead, she reached into her jacket and handed him her last flare. Cade took it and nodded. Then he opened the bunker door and stepped into the cold. The snowstorm had returned. Wind howled like a beast. Cade lowered his helmet visor and moved forward. The forest was full of shapes, twisting, twitching, moving. He didn't try to hide. He walked straight into the danger. The first undead turned at the sound of his boots. Its eyes glowed pale white. Its mouth opened, full of black teeth. Cade raised his rifle and fired once. The creature dropped. More came. He kept walking. Each step was slower than the last. His breath fogged his visor. His boots sank deep in snow and ash, but he didn't stop. Every undead that came too close fell to his rifle. But they kept coming. 10, 20, 30. They surrounded him now. He reached the ruins just as his ammo ran out. The signal tower stood broken, tilted like a dead tree. Rusted, cracked. Cade climbed up the base, smashing frozen vines from the path. Behind him, the horde followed. Slow, endless. He reached the top. Snow stung his face. He saw the signal port, barely working, blinking red. "Come on," he muttered. He opened his pack and pulled out a charge core. One shot, one chance. He slammed it into the tower port. The tower shook. Lights blinked. Then, nothing, no sound, no hum, no light. It failed. Cade slammed the metal in frustration. Then something moved in the corner of his eye. A figure. Not undead, not a drone. Another human. No, two. They were wearing recon armor, white and gold, and one of them was pointing a scanner at the tower. The other waved at him. Cade blinked in disbelief. They had come. A small ship landed nearby. Its lights lit the whole clearing. Cade turned and looked down the hill. The horde was coming fast now. Hundreds, thousands, and behind them, drones. Big ones. War drones. He turned back to the new team. "Get the woman and child out," he yelled. "We tracked your signal," one of them shouted back. "Didn't expect it to be this bad." "It's worse," Cade shouted. "They'll break the bunker." The other human handed him a grenade launcher. "Buy us time." Cade didn't smile. He just turned and walked back down the hill, toward the Horde. Varela heard the roar in the distance. She looked up and saw light in the sky. A ship. Then she heard explosions, fire, screams. She clutched her child. The bunker door opened. Two strangers stood there. "Varela?" one asked. She nodded, stunned. "We're here for you. Cade sent us." "Where is he?" The woman looked down. "He's still out there." Varela stood, her knees shaking. "He'll die." "He knows," the other one said. "But he told us this." He reached into his pack and handed her something. A flare. Her flare. He said, "Tell her. I walked into the Horde so her child doesn't have to." Tears ran down her face. She looked toward the forest, where fire still burned. Then she stepped into the ship with her child. The door closed behind her. The engines lifted them high above the black snow. Far below, the battle still raged, and one man stood between death and hope. The sky was black again. The rescue ship flew fast, cutting through the clouds. Inside, Varela sat silently, holding her child close. His little hand gripped her tunic weakly, but he was alive. Across from her, the two human soldiers checked their gear. They spoke in whispers, but Varela didn't listen. Her mind was still in the snow, still with Cade. He had stayed behind, to fight the Horde, to save her, to save them. Suddenly the ship jolted, lights flickered. "We're hit!" one of the soldiers shouted. "Something's interfering with the nav." Outside, the clouds glowed with strange blue flashes. The pilot fought the controls, but the ship dipped, hard. "Hold on!" the second soldier yelled. Varela clutched, her child tight as the ship spun downward. A terrible screech filled the air as they slammed into something solid. Then, darkness. When Varela opened her eyes, everything was quiet. Cold. She was lying on her side. The child whimpered softly. The ship was half buried in snow and thick layers of frozen ice. Panels sparked. The air smelled like burned metal. She crawled forward and found the two soldiers. One was unconscious. The other, dead. She didn't scream. There was no time for that. She checked her child. Alive but weaker, she needed warmth. Shelter. Varela grabbed a flare and a small emergency pack, slung the child to her chest, and pushed open the broken side hatch. A tunnel of ancient ice stretched out before her, deep, long, glowing faintly blue. She stepped inside. The ice tunnel was quiet. Too quiet. Her boots crunched softly with every step. Water dripped slowly from the walls. Strange patterns were frozen inside the ice, shapes that didn't look natural. After 20 minutes of walking, she reached a wide chamber. Ice covered everything, floor, ceiling, walls, and in the center, a frozen machine. It looked like a giant metal worm broken in half. "Old mining drone," she whispered to herself. "This must be an old underground facility." She stepped closer. Her child coughed weakly, and then, the sound, not from ahead, from beneath. A crack, a low groan. The ice shifted. She stepped back quickly, holding her child tighter. Then the floor caved in. She fell. Varela landed hard on a lower level. Her back screamed in pain, but she forced herself up. The child cried softly against her. "Shh, it's okay. It's okay," she whispered. But it wasn't okay. She wasn't alone anymore. A shape moved in the shadows. Large, slithering. She stepped backward slowly. The shape followed. She pointed her flare forward, then she saw it. A massive creature, part machine, part flesh, trapped beneath the ice. It had glowing eyes, rusted metal claws. Its mouth opened wide, lined with spinning teeth. It had been buried long ago, and now it was waking up. She ran. The child cried louder now. The creature roared. The tunnels shook. She reached a narrow corridor and squeezed through, just as the beast crashed behind her, slamming into the walls. Her feet slipped. She tumbled down a slope and hit the bottom hard. She coughed and pushed herself up again. The creature didn't follow. It was too big, but it was digging. She could hear it tearing through the ice behind her. She ran again, her legs burned. Her breath fogged the air. Then ahead, a door, a sealed hatch buried in ice. She pressed the panel. Nothing. No power. She screamed in frustration. Then from her pack she pulled the last energy cell, stolen from the dead soldier's belt. She jammed it into the side of the hatch panel. Lights flickered. The door unlocked. It opened with a hiss. Warm air hit her face. She stumbled inside and hit the close button. The door slammed shut just as the beast's claw slammed against the other side. It roared in anger. She fell to her knees, sobbing. She had made it. Barely. Inside the hidden chamber, everything was clean, dry, warm. Lights glowed softly from the walls. She had found an old research bunker, forgotten but still working. A voice came from a speaker. Welcome, authorized personnel. Emergency status detected. Life support active. Medical systems online. A soft light scanned her body. Alien life form detected. Child in critical condition. Begin treatment? She choked out. Yes. Yes, please. A small bed rose from the floor. Medical arms reached out gently. She laid her child down. The machine beeped and began its work. She sat beside him, hand on his chest, tears in her eyes. From outside, the creature still roared, but down here, for now, they were safe. The snowstorm had passed. A weak sun shone over the frozen plains. Silence returned to the wasteland, but not peace. Far from the old bunker and the hidden ice tunnels, a black shape lay buried beneath broken trees and ash-covered snow. It was a body, motionless, half covered in ice. Then, his fingers moved. Cade gasped and sat up, coughing blood. His visor was shattered, one eye swollen shut. His armor hung in pieces, but he was alive, just barely. He pulled himself out of the snow, teeth gritted in pain. His shoulder was burned. A drone's blast had hit him before the beacon blew. But it was worth it. He had bought them time. He looked around. No ship, no signal, no supplies, just snow, and tracks, drones, and zombies. Moving west, toward the ice mountains. Cade's eyes narrowed. They're hunting her. It took him hours to walk. Each step was fire in his bones. He followed the tracks, burned trees, deep claw marks, human footprints, Virella, and the child, still alive. That was all he needed. By the time he reached the crash site of the rescue ship, the sky was already dark. He stood at the edge of a deep crater. The ship was broken, scattered in pieces. He climbed inside, 2 bodies, 1 soldier dead, the other missing, and signs of movement, tracks leading down into the ice. She had survived. Again. Cade found a half-working rifle, 1 charge left. No. Helmet. No medkit. Didn't matter. He entered the frozen tunnel alone. The wind behind him stopped. The cold pressed in, and somewhere below, the dead still moved. Virella sat inside the warm chamber, watching her child sleep. The medical system had stabilized him. His fever was gone. His skin glowed faintly again. She had eaten real food, drank clean water, but she didn't feel safe, because the growls had returned, and something was scraping the walls. The creature beneath the ice was still awake. Worse, it was not alone. Security cams showed movement outside, shapes in the snow. Walking, dead, dozens of them, maybe more. Her hands shook as she picked up the soldier's broken blaster. Just 3 shots. Not enough. The child stirred in his sleep. His little fingers reached for her hand. She squeezed them tight. "I'll protect you," she whispered, "even if it meant dying." Cade moved like a ghost through the tunnels. He saw the giant creature, now fully awake, digging through the ice, smashing through walls. Drones circled it like insects. They were searching, tracking heat, tracking the child. He climbed over a crack in the floor and dropped into a chamber. His breath caught. There, security cameras, medical lights, a working bunker, and inside it, he saw Virella holding her weapon, her back to him. She didn't know he was there. Then, the wall behind her cracked, and something huge burst through. She turned, screaming. Cade jumped. He hit the ice hard, rolled, and aimed his rifle. The creature lunged. He fired. Boom. Its head jerked back, but it didn't fall. Virella fired next, straight into its eye. It roared in pain. Then Cade saw the fuel pipe on the wall. He shouted, "Shoot the pipe!" Virella didn't ask why. She turned and blasted it. Flames poured from the broken pipe. Cade grabbed a flare from his belt. He struck it once. It lit bright red. Then he threw it. The fire met the gas. The tunnel exploded. Cade woke up buried under rubble. Again. But this time, he smiled, because the growling had stopped. The creature was dead. The drones were gone. He turned his head slowly. Virella was beside him, pulling at the debris, her child, safe in a sling. "You always show up last minute," she said softly. He coughed. "I like dramatic timing," she laughed, wiping a tear. "Why didn't you leave? Why come back?" she asked. Cade looked at the child. "Because he's the future, and you're the one keeping him alive." Then he added quietly, "And because someone needs to show this galaxy what humans do when they care." Smoke still drifted through the broken ice tunnels. Cade sat with his back against the metal wall, bandaging his arm with shaking hands. His ribs ached, his leg was stiff, but he was alive. Virella sat across from him, cradling her now sleeping child. The boy was warm, breathing steady. Safe. For now. Silence hung between them. Not heavy. Just full. They had survived the worst thing under the ice. But the fight wasn't over. Not yet. An alarm chirped. Virella looked up. One of the old screens flickered, red symbols flashing. "What is that?" she asked. Cade limped over and checked the panel. His face hardened. "Movement outside," he said. "Not zombies, not drones." "Then what?" "Signals. Human. Military grade." She tilted her head. "Your people?" He shook his head. "No, these signals are coded differently. Older, dirtier." A long pause. "Scavengers." Virella's eyes narrowed. "You mean looters?" "Worse," he said. "Scavengers follow distress signals. They don't help. They hunt survivors. Strip everything. Leave no witnesses. Even children?" He didn't answer. That was answer enough. Above the ice, 3 ships landed like vultures. Men and women in old armor stepped out. Their gear was mismatched. Rusted helmets, stolen weapons, faces covered in grease and cold. One held a scanner. Reading. 3 biosigns. 1 adult female, 1 child, 1 injured male. The leader grinned. Easy pickings. Inside the bunker, Cade handed Virella a blade. She looked at it, confused. "You're giving me a knife?" "You're fast. You move better in small spaces," Cade said. "I'll take the rifle. It only has 2 shots. I'll make them count." She looked at the child, then at him. "You don't have to do this," Cade smirked. "Yes, I do. I'm human, remember?" She blinked, then nodded. "Then I fight too. We both do." The scavengers dropped through a crack in the ice. They moved in silence, trained, brutal. But the tunnels had changed. The heat vents were on now. Steam hissed around them, blinding. A voice echoed from the dark. "Looking for someone?" They spun, weapons raised. Nothing. Then, Slice. One fell, throat cut, another screamed. An explosion of steam hit his face. Cade dropped from above, landing hard, rifle ready. Bang, one shot, two bodies down. Varela jumped from the shadows, blade flashing. Blood. Hit the ice, the scavengers panicked. It's a trap! But Cade and Varela weren't fighting alone. She had reactivated old defense systems. Automated turrets lit up and fired. Lasers scanned targets. Heat sensors picked off their hiding spots. The scavengers tried to run, but the tunnels twisted, turned, led them into dead ends, into traps, into them. It didn't last long. 10 minutes. Then silence. The last scavenger crawled on his hands begging. "Don't kill me," he cried. "I was just following orders." Varela stood over him, blade ready. Cade put a hand on her shoulder. She paused, then turned away. He fired once. Quick, clean. It was over. Later they stood near the upper hatch. Outside, the storm had cleared. Now Cade looked up at the sky. "There's a small tower nearby," he said. "If we power it, my people will find us. For real this time." "And what then?" Varela asked. "We take you and the boy somewhere safe." "There's no such place left," she said. "There is," he said, looking at her. "We'll make one." She didn't reply, but for the first time, she believed it might be true. Together. They walked out into the cold. 2 warriors. One human, one alien, a sleeping child on her back. The snow was deep, the wind was sharp, but they walked forward, side by side, because now they knew they were stronger together. The sky was beginning to change. Dark clouds thinned, and for the first time in days, a faint golden light touched the frozen mountains. The sun was rising. Varela stood at the edge of the ridge, her child strapped to her back, sleeping soundly. Beside her, Cade adjusted his weapon and looked through his binoculars. His face was tired, his armor cracked, but his eyes were clear. "There," he said. "Signal tower. 5 clicks. Down in the valley below, half buried in snow and ice, stood a tall broken antenna. Just enough power left to send one final beacon, one chance at rescue, one shot at a future. But they weren't alone. All around the valley, the undead had gathered. Hundreds of them. Moving slowly, waiting, and deeper in the shadows. Something bigger was coming. Another drone swarm. War class. Cade gritted his teeth. "If we don't get to that tower now, no one's coming." Varela looked at her child. "Then we go." They moved like ghosts through the snow. Varela carried the child. Cade cleared the path, shooting only when needed. Every step was danger, but they kept going. Together. When they reached the base of the tower, the ground trembled. The Horde had seen them. The dead came fast now, sprinting, clawing, howling. The drones followed, scanning heat. The sky darkened again, not from clouds, but from wings. Scavenger ships. They had returned, this time with more firepower, more greed. Cade turned to Varela. "This is it." She nodded. "I'll climb the tower, you hold them back." "No," he said. "You climb, I'll hold them back." "Cade." He cut her off. "They won't shoot a mother and a child. They'll shoot me. So let me draw fire." Her eyes burned. "Don't you dare die, human." He smiled. "I'll try not to." Then he handed her the last flare. "Light this when the signal is sent." She nodded once. Tight. Then she ran. Varela climbed fast, even with the child. Ice cracked beneath her feet. Wind howled. She reached the top, shaking. Her fingers worked quickly, guided by old memory. Alien tech, human power cells. She patched the wires, connected the core. The beacon hummed. Below, Cade stood alone. The Horde came in waves. He fired, ducked, reloaded, fired again. A drone shot past his head. A claw scraped his back. He didn't fall. Not yet. Above, the beacon turned green. Varela lit the flare. Red light rose into the sky. The signal pulsed once. Twice. Then, a sound, a deep hum, from the sky. Cade looked up. 3 massive ships broke through the clouds. Human Alliance warcruisers. Real help. Real firepower. They fired beams of light and fire into the Horde. Drones exploded. The undead burned. Scavengers scattered like insects. Varela screamed from the tower, "Cade! They're here!" But she couldn't see him. Smoke covered the field. Silence fell. The warships landed nearby. Soldiers poured out. Varela climbed down fast, carrying the child. She ran to the soldiers, shouting, "There's another! A human! He fought for us!" They searched. Then a medic called out, "Here!" Cade lay still, half buried in snow and blood. His chest moved, barely, but it moved. 3 days later, Varela sat beside Cade in a clean white room aboard a medical ship. He opened his eyes slowly. She smiled down at him. "You look terrible." He grinned weakly. "You look alive." The child climbed up on the bed and hugged Cade's arm. Cade looked at him, surprised. "He's stronger," Varela said. "Healing fast, because of you." Cade looked out the window. Stars passed by slowly. A new home waited beyond them. He whispered, "We made it." Varela reached for his hand. "No," she said, "we fought together and we survived together."